If we're far enough away, I'm fine with taking it off. Does that screw your noise level? All right. So if it's just us, just so you know, I represent lots of different organizations here, and so it's a little bit hard for me wearing all my different hats.
Okay.
So just recognize that I might say, oh, from this perspective or that perspective or whatever. So
yeah, that's fine. Do you mind just saying and spelling your first and
Sure.
last name and pick the title that I guess that you would want to go by?
Jeff Sparhawk, which is Jeff. Sparhawk, Sparhawk. For this, I'd say media representative for Rocky Mountain Rescue.
Got it. Can you just walk us through the rescue that happened yesterday, what the call was, and
Sure.
how
So
it went down?
yeah, the way it came in to us was a female went up the previous day to Eldora snowshoeing. And apparently this is not a new thing for her. She does this from time to time. And she didn't show up, didn't come back down. And so, I'm not sure how exactly the call came in, but I think it was a family member realized the next morning that she was missing and hadn't returned. And so traced her back up to Eldora, and we started the search from there. And the search, it was both inbounds and out of bounds by the Nordic area there. And we searched all day long. There's a lot of area there between the ski trails and outside the ski area. And we utilized a number of different local resources from Boulder Emergency Squad and Front Range Rescue Dogs, and of course Rocky Mountain Rescue. And the sheriff of every county is responsible for search and rescue. So we had Boulder Sheriff up there. We had the City of Boulder Watershed up there helping us with snowmobiles. And of course, Eldora Ski Patrol was great, giving us as many resources as they could. And then we also reached out to the Air Force Rescue Coordination Center, where we can go to get assistance from the Civil Air Patrol with cellular forensics to track down a cell phone that's no longer in a service area, to give us the history of where that cell phone might have been. And that actually turned out to be very beneficial for us. It helped us direct resources really to the right area. And so once we had that information, we started to get resources over into the area where that the cell phone information was. She wasn't exactly in that, she had moved, but we eventually found her just after dark or right around dark. And she was definitely quite cold, and the decision was made to get her back to the parking lot there and then fly her out to get her to Denver to get her taken care of right away.
Where exactly was she, and had she gone off trail?
Well, so that's an interesting question. Up at Eldora in the Nordic area, they have something like 60 kilometers of cross-country or Nordic ski trails. But then they also have a number of snowshoe trails. And these trails, they're right up against Forest Service. And so people go out into the forest and then they come back in, and there are marked trails, but then there are just snowshoe tracks off into the woods, wherever you want to go. And so we don't know exactly where she went. There are a number of snowshoe tracks back in there, and she could have gone all kinds of places. We were following snowshoe tracks, and sometimes they would turn back on themselves or loop around and hit a ski trail and then go off that ski trail. So we'll never know exactly where she went. And we don't know where she spent the night, whether it was in the area or out of the area. But she was eventually located about 200 yards off one of the Nordic trails up in the woods there. And it's really tight timber in there, so it's hard to see. And so we did also try to get the Colorado Department of Fire Prevention and Control, DFPC. They have a multi-mission aircraft that we flew over to see if they could pick her heat signature up. But she was down in the trees, and there were other skiers around, so it was really a hard ask of them to be able to find her. And then Flight for Life also flew up to try to search, but the winds were just too great to be able to search.
Did it appear she maybe got lost, or what exactly happened?
Yeah, that's to the best of our ability. Do you want me to stop?
Go ahead.
To the best of our ability, she just got lost. right? She was in an area that is rolling terrain with trees, so you can't see very far, and you can get down in one gully and get turned around and not know which mountain to go up, or you get up on top of a mountain and not know which side to go down. So it's definitely a great area to get remote and away from people. You can't see the parking lot, you can't see the ski area. You lose cell phone coverage pretty quickly back in there. There's only certain spots where you can get cell phone coverage. So yeah, we think she just got turned around and didn't get out, and she was out there alone.
A lot of search efforts don't end the way that this one did. And considering you were searching for about 8 hours, for you on the ground and for the other rescuers that were there, what's that like when you hear the call over the radio, or if you're the one that finds someone alive and after something like this?
You know, I've been doing this for a long time, and everybody does it for a different reason. And there's honor, there's pride, there's community service, there's giving back to those people who, you know, we're out there ourselves. We're hikers, we're climbers, we're skiers. We enjoy being out there. We want to give back to our community as well of outdoor people. And, you know, in this situation, I was surprised. I was surprised that she survived the night and that she was in such good shape. Right? She was talking to us. And so it was super surprising. It's also a huge pick-me-up for everybody, right? And, you know, it was this huge collaborative effort, right? We had 50 some odd people up there searching for her. And to have all these agencies working together, common goal, and it worked out great, right? That's what we really want to see every single time.
We've been in touch with the family, tells us that she's got some frostbite in her hands and her feet, but they said she's in good spirits, and they are just so thankful to you folks.
Yeah, that's great to hear. I didn't even know that. We did, you know, we packaged her up and got her out of there as quickly as we could, start the warming process, but we didn't know the extent of injury, so it's great to hear that.
You touched on it, but yeah, why do you do this type of work?
You know, I started doing this when I was 18, and it's been quite a few decades now, and to me, it's a way of life, right? We have this big, huge family of rescuers, not only in Boulder County, it's, you know, throughout the state, and it makes, I don't know, it makes life worth living to some degree, to know that we make a difference. You know, those 50 people up there yesterday, they made such a difference. It was one life this time, but it's been hundreds, if not thousands, of lives that we've affected. What's
your message to folks that are heading out to do snowshoeing or anything in the outdoors right now?
Yeah, really good question. And, you know, I want to take this a slightly different angle, because I've been asked that question many times over the years, right? And we're still rescuing people, and they're still making the same mistakes. And so I'd like everybody to recognize that there have been 11 avalanche deaths in Colorado this year. All of those deaths are Colorado residents. It's not tourists, it's not out-of-towners, it's us. It's people from our community that aren't getting the message. And so we need help to get just these simple, basic safety messages out there to our loved ones, to our neighbors. And I don't necessarily know how to do it, but you know, it's tell somebody where you're going to go, and go there. And if you change your plan, well, tell them you changed your plan. Give them a time you're going to be back, and you'll check in. Right? Take basic safety gear, prepare, read the avalanche forecast, listen to the weather, know what you're getting yourself into. Take water, take a flashlight, go with somebody. Really simple, go with somebody, right? And if you can, go with a mentor or hire a guide and get out there and learn, right? Everybody's got to learn. Our mountains aren't safe necessarily all the time. It's an awesome place to be, but you got to treat them with respect. And if you don't do that, you might have some problems.
What were the weather conditions like when you arrived and through most of the search?
Yeah, it's a good question. You know, it's the Front Range, so it's windy. It was windy all day. Not terrible in the trees, but definitely windy. weather yesterday was relatively warm up there, but with the recent snowstorms, the coverage was pretty good. So on the ski area, on all the Nordic trails, there was great coverage. And when you got off the trails, that's when you started to sink, right? So moving along the established trails wouldn't be too difficult, but as soon as you get off, as snowshoers often want to do, then it starts to be a lot of energy to move, and you slow down, and potentially you fall down, and you have to keep getting up, and so I could see somebody getting exhausted pretty quickly up there.
Any idea what the low temperature was that she must have experienced overnight?
Yeah, I don't know. That's a good question.
Yeah.
6 degrees. Thanks, Kelly.
6 degrees.
6 degrees, yeah, so pretty cold up there. That's another piece of education is if you do get stuck out overnight, learn how to survive. Learn what it's really going to take. What are you going to do? It depends on time of year, but this time of year to dig into the snow and make yourself some sort of shelter. Get out of the wind. The snow is a really good insulator. And so if you have the appropriate gear and the appropriate knowledge, even if you have a mistake or you get lost, you can probably come through it okay.
And is there any indication that this woman made a shelter, or you just don't know how she...
Yeah, sorry, we don't know. And so it was really, Ski Patrol found her, and it was great to have them right there with all of their medical training to get her taken care of, and then we evacuated her really quickly to right into the ambulance, right into the helicopter. So.
Jeff, anything we're not asking? Anything we're missing?
No, I don't think so.
Kelly had some clarification on
Yeah, thanks, Kelly.
part of it.
So, I talked to the sister, if you want to, I can tell you what she said happened from talking to,
Which way? Do you want Kelly to talk, or do you want me to talk, or do you want more?
I'll give it to you and let you talk.
Okay.
Sure.
So, so she was out she took one of the trails, went off on another trail, lost track of time, started getting dark, so she turned around, started coming back. Realized she was going to be benighted, went off the trail, took some tree boughs, put them down on the ground. Stayed there for a little bit, thought she saw some lights, so she started going off through the trees, ended up in a gully, and that's basically where you guys found her. She stayed there the rest of the day.
So did she spend most of the night on the tree boughs?
She thinks a good part of the night, she thinks she fell asleep for a while.
Okay. All right.
And then got up, started moving, and ended up in a...
Do you want that? Is that helpful?
Yeah, I think if you could relay...
Sure. Do you want to ask a question, or you want me to just cut into that?
Go ahead, yeah. What did you learn from the sister, I guess?
Sure. Yeah, so we just learned today from the sister that it sounds like the subject got turned around, lost track of time, and realized her situation, was able to break off some tree branches, make herself somewhat of a bed to lie down on, stay off the snow a little bit. Spent some portion of the night there, up off the snow, hopefully out of the wind, which will really make a big difference. And then at some point she woke up and saw some lights, or at least thought she saw some lights, and started to head towards those, so downhill, down into a gully. And apparently that's where we found her, was down in that gully.
Wow. Thank you.
I guess did the timing of the lights match up with, do you think those were rescue lights that she was seeing?
No, I doubt it, because we got called about 9 o'clock, so we didn't get up there till 10 or a little after 10. So, the ski area was open and everything was running at that point. But do recognize that, the ski area is going to run groomers and snowmobiles and whatnot around, and their snowcats have huge lights on them. So I could definitely see, lights coming over the top of the hill, being a snowcat on the other side type thing. Yeah, who knows where the lights were from.
It at least got it closer to people.
Hopefully, yeah. I mean, downhill was the right direction from where she was. However, recognize that if she was on the other side of one of the ridges right there, downhill would have been a long way out to anything else. So she just happened to be on the right side to get her back towards the ski area.